Myself, Preeti Gajjar, lecturer in Computer Department from PPMP Polytechnic. Today, my unit of Database Management System is Database System Architecture, with the topics are Structured Components and Functions of DBMS. After watching this video, you will be able to learn about following topics. These are structure and components of DBMS, functions of DBMS, execution steps of DBMS, types of database system. There are 4 types of database system, and that is centralized database system, parallel database system, client server database system, and distributed database system. Structure and components of DBMS. In structure of DBMS and components of DBMS, the functional unit are divided into 2 parts. One is query processor unit and second is storage manager unit. In the first, query processor unit, it deals with execution of DDL and DML statements. That means it deals with the execution of data definition languages commands and data manipulation languages commands. In that, the first component is DDL interpreter. Interprets DDL statements into set of tables. This data definition language interpreter works as to interpret the data definition language statements like create, alter, truncate, drop. Then DML compiler, that means it is a data manipulation language compiler. It translates the DML statements into low-level instruction. That means the commands insert, update and delete, which are data manipulation language commands, and this compiler translate or compile those commands into low-level instructions. Next is query evaluation engine. It executes low-level instructions. Whatever the analysis or low-level instructions are generated using the query processor unit is executed in this component. Second functional unit is storage manager unit. It provides the interface between the low-level data and application programs and queries, and it has different types of manager unit, and these are authorization manager, integrity manager, transaction manager, file manager and buffer manager. Let's see one by one. In authorization manager, it checks for the authority of the user, that if a users are valid user for not to use the database. Integrity manager, it checks for the integrity constraints of the database. Constraint means rules. So whichever the integrity rules are set up in a database management system are followed or not is checked by this integrity manager. Next is transaction manager. It preserves atomicity and controls the concurrency. Atomicity means the transaction must be either 100% or 0% executed, and concurrency means when multiple users are using the database, at that time we need to control the multiple access of the database. So transaction manager preserves the atomicity and controls the concurrency between multiple users. Next is file manager. It manages allocation of space on a disk, means physical storage management is done by file manager. Buffer manager. It fetches the data from the disk storage. That means whichever the data are currently using is temporarily stored in buffer manager to get fast access from the disk. So these are the sub units, or we can say a functional parts of a storage manager unit. This figure shows the structure or components of database management system architecture, or in short we can say this is the system structure of database management system. Database management system architecture means it is a model using which we can generate our database which we need. To create any database, first we need to decide which components are going to used in this system. In this figure there are 4 parts shown. The first part in a structure is a users, means they are the users who are going to use the database management system. So this is the first part. Next, second part is a query processor which generates or analyzes the particular query. Third part is a storage manager where the actual different types of managers are located. And the fourth part is disk storage, or we can say physical storage, where the actual data are going to store. Let's discuss one by one all the parts. In part 1 of users, you can see in a figure the first user is nav user. So nav users means users who wants to store their data using different applications. nav users use the applications to interact with the database management system. For example, users are using the Facebook and they want to keep the records of how many likes and how many comments they get. So this is the type of database which user wants to keep in their record. Second is application programs. Application programs are nothing but types of some softwares which are already created to generate different types of application programs, and those application programs are used by the nav users. Application programs are developed using different kinds of editors like NetBeans, Dreamweaver for PHP, like that. Next are the sophisticated users. Sophisticated users means they are analyzed, who analyze the queries, like different types of queries needs different times to execute, and how many number of queries are going to execute, and these types of analysis of queries are done by sophisticated users, or we can say analyzer, who are going to use the database management system. And the fourth one is database administrator, who is the actual creator or the designer of the database management system, and they provide the authority to users and also the security to users to use the database management system. So these are the 4 different types of users who are interacting or interfacing with the database management system using application interact, application programs, queries, or we can say database schema, and then they are going to access the next part, and it is known as a query processor. In query processor, we can say a DML compiler is there. It creates the object codes to access the database, actual database, and DML queries is used to insert, update and delete the data. So whichever the queries are going to perform and whatever the data they need to access is analyzed and decided by the DML compiler. Same way in the DDL interpreter, having the data definition language commands, and they interpret for the database which are going to stored in a disk storage. So DDL interpreter, DML compiler, these are the main components of query processor. Then if any extra functions or any applications are used with queries, then DML compiler going to pass those data as a embedded DML precompiler, and ultimately those application programs object code are passed to query evaluation engine. Query evaluation engine decides that query is properly executed, properly compiled or not, and it is properly passed to the user or not. So these are the functions of query processor. And then next part is a storage manager, having different types of storage manager like transaction manager, authorization manager, buffer manager, file manager, etc. In buffer manager, it is the manager which takes data from database and provide it to the users. So user can get a fast access from the physical database through the buffer manager. Buffer manager passes whatever the data they need, this information, to file manager, and file manager actually get those data from the disk storage from where it is stored. Authorization manager decides the permissions and authority for the particular valid or invalid users. Transaction manager controls the transactions of different types of queries. So these are the types of manager which are the part of storage manager. And then ultimately all those are going to access the physical data which is in disk storage in different ways, like data files, indices, statistical data, and data dictionary. Data files are the normal data storage files. It can be any video, audio, image files, or it can be any name or any kind of database. Indices are the types of, we can say, indexing processing which stores the data in indexing manner. Which type of data are stored at which location, those data are stored in indices. So whenever we need any data, the data files are going to access with indices where the files is actually located. Then statistical data are those data which stores actually whole details of a database related to DML compiler, and it improves the performance of the database management system. And finally the data dictionary, which is nothing but a kind of metadata for the storage. So this is the 4 different parts of system structure, or we can say components of database management system. Execution steps of a DBMS. When a user requests to access the database, following steps are followed. Whenever we try to use the database using queries, this number of steps are followed. So in that, first step is users issue a query using particular database language, for example SQL commands. That means first step is user generate a query using any kind of database languages like SQL. Second, such requests are sent to query evaluation engine via DML compiler. This kind of query are then sent to query evaluation engine, and then it analyzes those queries. In third step, DBMS accepts the user's SQL commands and analyzes them. DBMS accepts whatever the queries or whatever the analysis done in a second step. So DBMS accepts those analysis with the SQL commands and again analyze them. In a fourth step, it finds the suitable way to execute the compiled SQL statements of query. In a fourth step, the database management system finds a way to execute that analyzed query. And in a finally fifth step, the compiled SQL statements are executed to perform the specified operation. Whichever the operation is established in SQL query is finally executed and get result in this fifth step. Functions and services of DBMS. A database management system performs several important functions and services which are given below. Let's see one by one. Data storage. The database management system provides storage and manage the space allocation and deallocation. Next is data independence. It provides data independence characteristics with the help of 3-tier ANSI Spark architecture. Next is data manipulation. Database management system furnishes users with the ability to receive, update and delete the existing data in a database. It includes a DML processor component to manage this. Next is data dictionary. It is used to track metadata of data. Next, backup and recovery. Database management system provides data backup periodically and recovery when the failure occurs. Next is security. It allows only the authorized users and it can access data to prevent misuse of data. So only the authorized users are able to access the data. Concurrency control. It allows to access same data among multiple users with the help of concurrency control. Integrity services. It checks to follow integrity constraints, or we can say rules. Transaction management. It checks for the atomicity to maintain the consistency in the database management system. So these are the functions and services of DBMS. Types of database systems. Database management system can be classified into 3 different ways. First, number of users. Second, database site locations. and third based on its use. On the basis of number of users, there are two types: single user system and multi-user system. On the basis of site location, there are four types: centralized database management system, parallel, distributed, and client server database management system. And on the basis of type and extent of use, that means how the database management system is going to use, we can classify it in three types: transactional or production DBMS, decision support DBMS, and data warehouse. The first database system is centralized database system. It consists of a single processor. That means the database management system is kept in a center, so that's why it is known as a centralized database system. It is physically located at a single place from where the other users are going to access those data, and the data storage devices and other peripherals are associated with it, and different users can access a database from local machines or remote machines. Let's see the figure to understand this concept. This figure shows the centralized database system, in which in the center you can see the communication network using which the different sites are connected, and in the center a central site, it is named given a Chicago, having two databases DB1 and DB2. It is resited or physically located in a center, and other sites like San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta are the other four different sites which are going to use the central database of a site Chicago. So database is kept in a one central site and its name is Chicago, for example, and the other four are trying to use those databases from the Chicago, either remotely or locally. Second database system is a parallel database system. It consists of multiple central processing units. That means we can say multiple CPUs and multiple disks for storage. They improve the processing and I/O speed. That means the improvement of processing and input-output speed with different CPUs and multiple storage. Several different architectures can be used for parallel database system are shared data storage disk, shared memory, hierarchical, and independent resources. These are the four different ways using which we can design the parallel database system architecture. So in shared data storage disk, all the processors share a common disk of the storage. In shared memory, all processors share the common memory. In hierarchical, a hybrid of all the other three architectures can create a hierarchical architecture. And in independent resources, they have their own independent resources like memory, storage disk, and processor. Let's see the figure. This is the example of parallel database system in which you can see there are multiple processors, or we can say CPUs, and having a common data bus using which they are accessing the memory and storage disk. Here the memory is single and the storage disk are again multiple. So this figure shows the shared memory parallel database system. Next is a client server database system. It has two logical components, namely client and server. Application programs are kept at the client side, while database and database management system softwares are kept at the server side. Server computer is called the back end, while the client computer is called as a front end. These servers and client computers are connected into a network. We can say a communication network like internet, and clients send a request to the server. Server returns the result according to the request to the client. Let's understand it with the figure. Here you can see different clients are connected via network with a single server. Multiple clients are there and only one server is going to access, and when any of the client is sending a request to access the data to the server, then server finds the results according to that client's request and send back the result to that particular client via the network. So multiple clients one by one can send the request to the server, and server is going to accept those requests in first come first serve basis and give a result according to that. The last is the distributed database system. In this system there are multiple computers are used, and it allows or enable users to access data from remote system. Machines are geographically distributed and connected via the communication networks. So in this system there are different locations at where the database and the computers are located and connected via the communication network. Application can operate at different location. So in each and every location, each user having their own applications to access those data. The enterprise data might be distributed on different computers in such a way that data for one portion of enterprise is stored in one computer and data for another department is stored in another computer. So each machine can have data and application of its own. Each machine will act as a server as well as client. So as if we understand, in client server database system there is only one server connected via communication network with different clients, while in this distributed database system there are every system has their own database and their own application programs. So whenever any of the site location want to access those data from different machines, or we can say a computer, they can access those remote data. Let's see or understand with the help of figure. In this figure there are three site locations. We can say site A, site B and site C. All the site locations are connected via communication network, and each and every site having their own application programs and own database management system. Each and every site location can access any of the data from a communication network, and for example we can say site A wants to access the data or database management system of a site B, then it can send a request to site B, and site B will work as a server and send the request to site A, which is a client. While if now site C wants to access the data of site A, then site C can become a client and send a request to site A to access the data of their system, and site A behaves as a server and send back the result of whatever the site C wants. So it sends the result again via the communication network. So this is the distributed database management system. Thank you.